In this video, we're going to go over equations. So we got a couple of equations to start with, and then we got a few word problems. So I know people really get tripped up on some of these word problems. So we'll go over those. Okay, so x out over 5 equals 20. Okay, so what do you do with this? So first thing we want to remember, when you see that whole number on the right, is that 20 and 20 divided by 1 are really the same thing. Okay, and then we cross multiply. X times 1 equals 1x, or just x. 20 times 5 is 100. X equals 100. Here's our answer. Pretty simple, huh? If we do something pretty good, something pretty similar. Geez, forgetting how to talk, which is a problem for these videos. Let's say x over 3 equals 25. Okay, you're going to do exactly the same thing, right? 25 over 1. So x times 1, 1x, just like we did before. 3 times 25 is 75. There we go. So that's kind of how you do those. Not too bad, really. And let's give ourselves a little bit of room to work with before we get into these word problems. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you, and we'll kind of like show you how we go through it, right? Okay, so I'll just read the question first, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so the question says, 5 more than 3 times a number equals 23. What does that number equal? Okay, so let's start here. So we hear 5 more. So more should mean plus, right? If it said less, it would mean minus. So 5 more plus 5. Okay, then 3 times a number. So I hear 3 times a number. 3 times a number. There we go, 3x plus 5. And then it said equals 23. Right, and now it looks just like a regular algebra problem that we can go through. Right, so the tricky part is that it says 5 more first than 3 times a number, right? And that's just what you're going to hear, right? So it seems backwards because the way we write it is 3x plus 5, not 5 more than 3 times a number. Anyways, so from here we subtract 5. Remember, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Okay, and we get 3x is left over on this left side equals 18. Okay, and then from here we'll just divide each side by 3. And then 18 divided by 3 is 6. We have x equals 6, and that's our answer. Okay, so really one of the big keys there, you look at it, you're not quite sure what to do with it, is take your time, just start with, okay, you're going to see like a more than or a less than with this type of a problem. Okay, so start with your add or subtract, and then it's going to say 3 times or 5 times or whatever. You go from there. Okay, another word problem. Okay, so it says, I work twice as many hours as John. Together we worked 45 hours. How many hours did I work? Okay, so it starts off, I work twice as many hours as John, right? So I'm 2J. He's J. We'll get to that in a second. And then we said, together we worked 45, right? So I got 2J for me, J for him, equals 45. Now we got something we can work with. 3J is 45. Okay, and we're just going to divide each side by 3, which I think is what we did in the last problem too. Yep. And so now we know that J is 15. Okay, now remember what that means though. So we said J was him and 2J was me, right? And they want to know how many hours I worked. So if he's 15, then I 30, right? And that's really the answer that we want. I'm 30. And if we were to back check it, then 30 plus 15 equals 45, this number up here. So looks like we're good to go. And one more word problem, and then we'll call it a video. Okay, so the last one is consecutive even integer, or not even, consecutive integers. So it says we have 4 consecutive, so con is going to be consecutive, integers total 162. And then they want to know what are each of those consecutive integers. Okay, so if you're doing something like this, try to remember, okay, first of all, so an integer is like a whole number, right? So 7.3 or 5/8, fractions and decimals are not integers. Okay, and consecutive means that they go right in a row. So like 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 4 consecutive integers, right? But 5, 7, 10, 13, they're not right in a row like that. Those are not consecutive integers. Okay, so how do we write this in math? Okay, so we start off with x, that's our first integer. Okay, then the next integer is going to be x, but it's going to be 1 greater than x, so x plus 1. And you can probably guess what the next two are going to be, right? 1 greater than 1 is 2. And one more time. All that equals 162. Okay, now we got something we can work with. Okay, so how many x's are there? Right, there were 4, right? Because they said 4 consecutive. Or you can count them just to make sure you did it right. Okay, so we got 4x. And then, so we had x plus 1 is a number, plus x plus 2, plus x plus 3. So we got 3, 2, and 1. If we add those together, we get 6 equals 162. Okay, so from here, we subtract 6 from both sides. Remember, we always got to do it to both sides. Okay, and we have 4x equals 156. Okay, so if we divide now from here each side by 4, we end up with x equals 39. Okay, so that's x, and then we're going to have to go back and plug these in, right? So 39 is the first one, 40 is the second one, 41 third, 42 fourth. Okay, so then if you go ahead and you can look at them and you add these 4 up, 39 plus 40 plus 41 plus 42, what do you know? Those 4 add up to 162. So we did it right. So this is our answer here, though. The 4 consecutive integers are 39, 40, 41, 42. Okay, so that's how you do it math-wise. Now, if you wanted my honest opinion on how I would go about solving it, assuming that I was given multiple choice, which you will be, is I would just look at the answer choices. All right, so you're going to have 4 answer choices, so and then I would just add them up and see which one added up to 162, right? And make sure that they were consecutive integers, right? So it wasn't spread out some way. But that's another where you're just essentially doing guess and check, and that'll work honestly just as well for getting the answer right. So you can do, it's nice to know the math way, like how do you set these kind of things up. But if you're given multiple choice, it might be probably easier math, less things you have to remember how to do it if you just guess and check the answers. But either one works.